So for tonight's class, if you haven't already done so, feel free to grab a tissue, because sometimes when we practice alternate nostril breathing, you might find you have to blow your nose. And then, of course, as always, water. And so I'm going to start into, first of all, centering meditation. And then I'll explain a little bit more about what we call alternate nostril or Nadi Shodhana breath. So please make yourself comfortable in a seated upright position with your hands on your lap and closing your eyes. And as you settle in, observing first how your breath is right now, without trying to change anything. Just take a reading on where your breath is in terms of pace, where it's landing in your body. And then noticing all of the parts of the body that are closest to the floor, feeling your foundation. And personalizing this observation of the body, choosing what you focus on, but the goal will be to go from the bottom to the very top, drawing your awareness up with each inhale. And as you scan the body from the floor to the top of your head, noticing if there's any areas of tension. And then when you get to the crown of the head and you've worked through all of the parts of your body and softened any areas of tension, we make the intention to press pause now on day-to-day life so that we can enter our breath and meditation practice with our full concentration and our full effort. And keeping your eyes closed, please draw your palms together and make them warm with some friction. Place your warm palms over your closed eyes. We'll do 3 deep sigh breaths. So starting with an inhale, and then audible sigh on the exhale. Again, inhaling and exhale. Inhaling. And last one. Opening your eyes. Removing your palms to come into this first breath practice. So this one is called Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. And basically what happens, as you probably know from having a cold, is when you block one nostril and you're left with just one to work with, it slows down your breath. And so Nadi Shodhana is a calming breath practice. So there are a couple of different ways that we can block the nostrils for this practice. One is we just hook the elbow against the side of the rib cage so that it doesn't get tired. And then we take a thumb and an index finger, and the thumb will block the right, the index finger will block the left if you're using your right hand, opposite if you're using your left. And the traditional mudra, a mudra means hand gesture. And this goes to really old traditional yoga. You use your thumb, and then the first two fingers come down, and your pinky finger and your fourth finger connect so that you have almost like this shaka, but it's an extra strong pinky finger. You've reinforced it with the fourth finger. And that's how you would block the sides of your nostril. But with Nadi Shodhana, one whole sequence of breath involves an inhale through one nostril, then an exhale out of the opposite nostril. Then you will inhale through that same nostril and then exhale through the first nostril. And that whole sequence is one breath of Nadi Shodhana. I'm going to demonstrate it and describe it, and then I'll guide you through it. So I would empty my lungs. I would block my right nostril, inhaling left. Then I would block my left and exhale right. I'd inhale right, block the right, and exhale left. And that would be one sequence of Nadi Shodhana breath. We'll do just 5 of these together, where I'm going to be describing it all 5 times. So the length of the breath might feel a little unnatural, but we're just going to do it like this so that I can get you practicing it, get the hang of it, and then the second round, I won't talk through it. So coming into upright posture, and then you can use right or left. I'm going to use my right. And then all together, we empty the lungs, blocking the right nostril. Inhale through the left. Block the left, exhale right. Inhale right. Block the right, exhale left, and that is one round. Again, inhaling left. Block the left, exhale right. Inhale right. Blocking right, exhale left. Inhaling left. Block left, exhale right. Inhaling right. Blocking right, exhale left. In left. Out right. In through the right. Out through the left. In left. Out right. In right. And out left. And then we can take the hand away and just take a moment to pause and get into your normal breathing rhythm. So any questions about that, anyone? Feel free to type in the chat, unmute. So that is very beginner, just learning how to time changing the nostrils. And then linking your inhale and your exhale with the side of the nostril. A more advanced version, so kind of like blue square, would be combining the 3-part yogic breath with the alternate nostril breathing. So once you get the hang of this, if you feel like you've got it dialed and you could add an element of complexity, feel free to also include the 3-part yogic breath, which, just to review, we we fill the lungs from the bottom up. So it would be belly, rib cage, clavicle. And then we empty from the top down, clavicle, rib cage, belly. So we'll set up for a first Nadi Shodhana, and we'll do this for about 3 to 5 minutes. Placing your elbow in place and getting your hand ready. All together, we empty the lungs and we start. So inhaling, switch nostril, exhale, same nostril, inhale, and original nostril, exhale. Now continuing in your own pacing. And completing this round, and we'll stop Nadi Shodhana, opening the eyes. And just observing how that feels in the body. For me, after years and years of doing this, it totally mellows me out. Nadi Shodhana is sort of like waking up from a really good nap, and I just feel so refreshed and calm. Now, if that has not happened, sometimes with the alternate nostril breath in the beginning, it takes a few rounds before you figure out how to get a full breath with just one nostril to operate from. And as you did that practice, if it started to feel uncomfortable, it could just be that you need to relax the belly a little bit more. Any other observations? Anything different that happened? Did you find you got sleepy? Did you find you got anxious? Did you find that you felt tired or anything? Please feel free to share in the chat just to offer some feedback. Or, of course, if you have any questions, because we're going to do this again for a little bit longer. Okay, so next cycle of Nadi. Oh, had a great yawn. Awesome, felt pretty relaxed. And a sore hand. Yeah, that happens. It's funny how just holding your hand in position for 5 minutes, it can get kind of tired. So feel free to switch to the opposite one if you need. So for this round, what I'm going to encourage you to do is we're going to even more lengthen the exhale. So for that last round, I found it was comfortable to go for an inhale of about 5, exhale of about 5. Now let's see if we can go in my case for 5, out for 7. So increasing by a count of 2. Again, coming into your breath position, getting your mudra ready. All together, we empty the lungs and begin inhaling. Longer exhale. Inhaling. And longer exhale. And please continue. We'll complete one more round. And then ending that round of Nadi Shodhana. And just taking a moment to relax, recalibrate. So now we're going to switch to an entirely different type of breath. We're going to go to Kapalabhati. Kapalabhati is an excitatory breath for the nervous system. And it involves moving the diaphragm very quickly. I'm going to start with a prep breath, something a little bit easier. And that is we're going to inhale to the top of our lung capacity. And then at the very top, we're going to take one more tiny sip of air. So I'm going to demonstrate that. So I would empty my lungs. And then I'm going to inhale completely. And one tiny extra sip at the top of the breath. And then I just empty the lungs. So we're going to do that just 4 or 5 times together. Emptying the lungs to inhale. And a tiny sip at the top. Exhale. Again, inhaling. And exhale. And inhaling. Exhaling. And one more. Now stopping that, you might feel a little bit lightheaded. We're just going to do this in small sections because again, it's an entirely different way to breathe. Your body will not be used to it initially. So we'll do this one more time, about 4 or 5 breaths. But we're going to try and take that extra sip of breath just through the nostrils. So all of the breathing happens through the nostrils. However, the exhale can be out of the mouth. So emptying the lungs to inhale through the nostrils. And exhale. Inhaling. Exhale. Just a couple more in your own time. Okay, that's our prep breath. Now, the next one is Kapalabhati. This is a very active breath. And as you do it, if it feels uncomfortable, feel free to go back to this prep breath that we just worked on. So Kapalabhati, I'm going to forcefully exhale by drawing my abdominal muscles in every time. So and what's going on is I'm exhaling forcefully through my nostrils and I'm contracting my abdominal muscles to draw my belly button in towards my spine. We're just going to do this for short sections because this one, you actually can strengthen your core muscles over time just by doing this breath practice. But if you're not used to doing this breath practice, they might get kind of tired. So here we go, all together. We're going to do just about 10. Let's aim to do 10 forceful exhales. And we're starting emptying the lungs to inhale and start. And stopping. Take a moment to return to a normal breath. And any questions or any observations that you want to share, feel free to shoot. Okay, so with Kapalabhati, And actually, with all yoga breath practices, it's ideal to do them on an empty stomach. But if you have eaten recently, this might be a little bit more challenging. So, again, feel free to skip this one, go back to the prep breath or Nadi Shodhana again. We're going to aim to do another round of 10. And as you are exhaling, so you're contracting, we want the inhale to be passive. So that means I relax the belly and I'm just going to let the belly expand passively on the inhale. So I'm not trying to force the inhale. I'm just literally relaxing my abdominals, and the diaphragm is going to snap back up and dispel the air. So getting in position, emptying the lungs, inhaling. Just start. And relax. So that one's called, it translates Kapalabhati to breath of fire or breath of energy. Because what that quick breath does is it's like a hyperventilation breath. It triggers fight or flight. And so you may feel your adrenals kick in, cortisol, and that sense of, okay, go time. So for me, where I would use this breath practice is if I'm training or if I am entering into terrain that has consequence. So maybe I'm going to be overexposure for a moment, or I'm on something really steep and bumpy and I need to be paying attention. But because I have skied for so long, I can actually enter into those areas and I can sometimes be too calm, too relaxed. And I know that in order to be focused so that I can perform and I can be alert and safe, I need to get my nervous system excited. I need to get kind of pumped up and stoked for the line. So sometimes I'll practice Kapalabhati on the approach before I get to the top of the line so that when I get there, I'm ready to go, I'm focused, and then it's all about toggling. So I don't want too much elevation in the nervous system. And so when I get to over the line and I'm about to drop in, then I'm kind of reading, do I need to do a little bit of a calm down? Or am I in that right zone? Over time, you learn to feel this intuitively. Also, if you're tired, if maybe you didn't have a great sleep and you know you need to give a presentation in the morning, or you just have to show up with your A game for training, a little bit of Kapalabhati in the gondola on your way up. That can be a good way to get the brain woken up and to get yourself focused. So now what I want to do is the meditation for strength, the power up meditation. And what this is going to be is a visualization practice. What I'm going to ask you to visualize during the meditation is a scenario where, in recent memory, preferably, you were doing something that really challenged you and something where you had adrenaline, something that was high consequence. And for this experiment, just because we're all skiers, maybe we'll make it a ski experience will be the memory that we'll be working with for our visualization. And so I'm just going to guide you through. So for this one, we get relaxed, close the eyes, and take just a few cycles of breath to notice anything that's going on in the mind. And with each exhale, to bring your attention back to the next inhale. So as we exhale, we bring our attention back to this inhale. As we exhale, again, we deliberately bring our attention really squarely back to the sensation of this inhale. And this inhale. And this inhale. Now I'd like you to please visualize yourself at the top of your most recent memory of a ski run that had a little bit of consequence. And because of that, you were filled with adrenaline. Not necessarily fear. What we're looking for is a memory, an experience where you were excited, really, really excited. Please recreate this memory in as much detail as you can. What was the day like? What was the weather like? What were your surroundings like? So as you're stood on top of this run, now I'd like you to cast your gaze down the hill. And at the bottom of the run, whatever the run is, there's an audience this time. A big audience. And this audience is here specifically to see you perform this line. I'd like you to really feel the energy of that audience at the bottom of the run. They're calling your name. They're chanting. The noise is really, really loud. Now you have butterflies, but butterflies of excitement. Like you know when you decide to drop in that moment, it's going to be go time. All of your energy, all of your focus, all of your being united to the accomplishment of this one moment in time, this run. Now, in your memory, whatever the weather was, so if the weather was unfavorable in your memory, now I would like you, with your breath, to, as you inhale, open any clouds. And as you exhale, make the light brighter. As you inhale, any lacking visibility just clears. And as you exhale, the light in this scene gets brighter. And so all of your surroundings, all of the elements are aligned perfectly for this to be a brilliant run. For the next 3 cycles of breath, I would like you to breathe in a forceful way on the exhale. So we inhale deeply, exhale forcefully. Again, inhale deeply, exhale forcefully. Last one, inhaling deeply, exhale forcefully. And now in your mind's eye, you're visualizing a countdown. You do your ritual at the top of the run. The crowd gets louder. The light gets brighter. Your excitement gets bigger. And at the end of your countdown, you're going to drop in 3, 2, 1. And from this point, everything happens perfectly. With each exhale, it's like you're getting more speed. With each inhale, more strength. And as you approach the end of the run, the crowd is deafening. And everything happened perfectly. Every movement was executed exactly the way you wanted. So now we're going to relax the breath and open the eyes. So with the visualization, were you able to recreate a memory in your mind's eye? Okay, I'm going to assume a yes. So what happens when we use visualization and we pair it with breath? We are actually adding in the autonomic nervous system into the memory of that run. We're using the breath to actually influence the scene. So, changing the amount of light in the scene, changing speed that you're imagining yourself traveling by modulating the breath. Because we know when we adjust the breath, the rhythm, the depth of it, the ratio inhale to exhale, we know we're dialing the nervous system. If you pair the very real change in your nervous system with a visualization of a run that you would like to achieve, you can create the perfect scenario. And actually, the brain does not know the difference between an imagined experience and a real experience. And there are numerous studies that have shown this. So if you are preparing for something, let's say an end of season goal, something that you know is going to be intimidating for you, you can use visualization meditation, but pair it with the breath in a way that's going to help you infuse that visualization with more energy. In this case, we're deliberately trying to stoke the fire of the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic side of it, the part that gets us fired up. But you could do the opposite. You could do a visualization of something that you know is going to be really intimidating. And as you do that visualization meditation, you deliberately use a calming breath so that you're reinforcing in your mind over and over again, when I'm in this situation, actually, I'm going to feel calm. So now what I'm going to do, we've done a calming breath into a stimulating breath, into a stimulating meditation. Now let's do a deeply relaxing meditation. Now for this one, I'm going to recommend that you lie down on your back. You can do it seated, but it is best if you do it lying down. So I'm just going to move the camera here so that I can show you a couple options. So when you're lying down, if you have something to place under your knees, so I have a meditation cushion. It's going to be a makeshift support for my knees, or I could just use a pillow. When you're lying on your back, you're going to externally rotate the upper arm bones. And then make sure that you tuck the tailbone slightly so that you have a neutral curve in the spine and you're not hyperextending in your lumbar spine. Also, it can be helpful to have the room a little bit darker. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn off these lamps a little bit, kind of dim the light. So once you're in position, please close your eyes and just listen to the sound of my voice as I guide you through this 10-minute Yoga Nidra practice. Yoga Nidra means yogic sleep, deep sleep. We begin by relaxing the breath, just breathing in your natural way. And also we relax the desire to control the situation. And we just surrender, relaxing the body completely against the floor. In this practice, I'm going to guide your attention to parts of the body and when I prompt you to focus on a specific part of the body, all you're doing is observing sensation in that area of the body. Now, for each of us, sensation in the body will be a different experience. And so, if I'm guiding your attention to a part of the body where you do not feel sensation, please still keep your attention on the closest proximity part of your body to the area I'm guiding you to focus on. Please take your entire focus to your right big toe, your right second toe, third toe, fourth toe, pinky toe, and then wrapping your awareness around the whole length of the bottom of your foot. Feeling your heel of the right foot, the calf muscles, the back of the knee, the right hamstrings, and the right glutes, and the back of the pelvis. And the right side of your low back, Feeling the back right side of your rib cage. The right shoulder blade. The right shoulder. And then drawing a line of attention, the full length, the back of the right arm, the elbow, and the back of your forearm. Feel your wrist. And the skin of the back of your hand as it rests against the floor. Putting your full attention into sensations, into the thumb, the index finger, third finger, fourth finger, and little finger. And wrapping your awareness over the palm of the hand, feeling the air moving across the skin of the palm of your hand. Drawing a line of attention up the full length of the right arm into the right side of your neck. The right side of your jaw. The right ear. And then the whole of the back, the right side of your skull touching the floor beneath you. Now move your awareness to the back left side of your skull, the left ear, the left jaw, feeling the left side of your neck, and drawing a line of attention all the way down the front of the shoulder, the inner part of the elbow, the inside of your lower arm, and feel all the parts of your left wrist, your left palm, the little finger of your left hand, the fourth finger, third finger, index finger, and the thumb of your left hand. Wrap your attention around the back side of the hand and the back side of your lower arm, your elbow touching the floor, and the outer edge of your upper arm. The back left side of your rib cage. The left low back. And the left back side of the pelvis and glutes. And then feeling the whole length of the left hamstrings. the left back of your knee, the left calf muscles, heel, the sole of the left foot, the left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and pinky toe. Now feeling your entire body heavy against the floor. Heavy against the floor. As if the body could actually sink into the floor. Feeling heavy and deeply relaxed. For these last couple cycles of breath. Now we prepare to come out of this Yoga Nidra practice. Slowly waking up the body from the extremities to the core by gently moving your fingers and toes. And turning your head slowly from side to side. Back of the head moving against the floor. And then reaching your arms overhead, one big stretch from the ends of your toes to the tips of your fingers. And then rolling to one side. So you can use your arms to press yourself back up into a seated position. And taking a moment, have a sip of water. Okay. So now I'd love to hear how that went for you. How do you feel after the Nidra practice? Feel free to unmute or you can type it in the chat. Relaxed. Good. Did anyone
feel very relaxed, but lost the focus a little bit, kind of here and there, kind of like almost drifted off.
Yeah, totally normal. Did anyone totally fall asleep for a moment?
I know I did.
For a moment, maybe.
Yeah. So Yoga Nidra is considered kind of translates psychic sleep, deep, deep meditative rest. So it's a meditation where by going through the segments of the body and focusing the attention there, it has this full body calming effect. And it helps also keep your attention in the present moment by taking the attention to those different parts of the body. And some practitioners argue that 1 hour of Yoga Nidra is like 8 hours of deep sleep. I know for me, if I've only got time for a quick nap, and I can't nap because I have a hard time falling asleep in the middle of the day, a Yoga Nidra practice is an incredible reset. I'd love any other observations about the class tonight, any other experiences, questions from any of the breath.
Sorry, I knew that I found it a bit hard with the harder breathing for getting the energy to actually get the rhythm of doing it. Would there be something that you'd recommend to get the actual flow for it?
For the Kapalabhati breath, like the forceful exhale? Yeah, so that one, you're contracting the voluntary muscles in your belly. And it takes practice. This is the move of exhaling forcefully and contracting those muscles quickly like that is not something that we would normally do. So what I would recommend is starting really small. So doing just maybe 5 of these breaths with big spaces in between. So, and then reset, reset with your hand on your belly so that you can feel that those muscles are contracting. And then with practice, it'll be easier to do more of those in a row and to be able to do them at a faster pace. That's what I would try to begin with. But if you're practicing Kapalabhati on your own, in the beginning, it's advisable only to do maybe 10, 20 at the most. And with practice, you can elongate. The reason that you don't want to do too much Kapalabhati right away is it can cause cramping in the muscles of the abdomen, and it can be uncomfortable. It can cause lightheadedness. For some people, it makes them feel kind of nauseous and uncomfortable. So start really small. If you think about the yogis, if you read the texts, they talk about lifetimes of practice to master these techniques. There's a question, Tess has a good one. There's a different impact between different positions, sitting or laying down. Yeah, for Yoga Nidra, it's advisable to lie down just because you can completely relax and not have to use a lot of muscle to hold yourself in position. And then you can concentrate all of your attention on sensing the various parts of the body. So you can do a deep meditation, a deep relaxation meditation seated, but because you're using muscular effort to hold that position, it won't be as relaxing. Andrea asked, not sure if I had a problem with Kapalabhati because I don't have abdominal function or because I haven't done it before. So then, Andrea, this is a thing that, like I was picking your brain on the chairlift the other day, I so want to learn from you how these breath practices feel in your body, how your body responds. With Kapalabhati, it does rely on muscles that we have conscious control over. And it's possible that you not having the ability to feel that area and not being able to maybe control those muscles voluntarily, you might not be able to get the forceful exhale. So for yourself, Andrea, I think the prep breath practice where you inhale deeply and then just take that little bit of extra sip of air through the nostrils at the top would be a good one to start with. And then I would really love to touch base with you one-on-one and learn more about Kapalabhati. So yeah, it's a question mark. There's no literature in yoga about Kapalabhati in the case of someone who has paralysis. So we are breaking new ground. Thank you for that question. And oh, there's a prior question. The visualization with the audience freaks me out. As soon as you mentioned an audience, I was like, oh, peace out. Fair enough. Yeah, having an audience is super intimidating. So maybe that visualization you could experiment without an audience and just have the mountain as your audience. The goal in this particular instance was we want to feel stoked. We want to feel excited. Sometimes you could visualize an audience of just your dearest friend standing on the run beside you, maybe. Someone who you know absolutely loves, adores, and has your back no matter what. But having an observer automatically increases the risk factor, making it something that's going to trigger a little bit of adrenaline. So that's a really awesome observation. Thank you for sharing that. So I loved that practice. It wasn't exactly what I intended, but it kind of worked to go from mellow to excited breath, and then excited meditation to mellow meditation. We did a full parabola there. Next week, again, I'll check in and I'll find out how you're feeling. And then based on that, we'll adjust the mix. But next week, what I want to do is do an excitatory breath that's a little bit more challenging. That's the game plan. Now, if you have any questions or comments that pop up later, please feel free to email me. And again, I thank you so much for your time and your attention.